Hi everyone. So today we're discussing the topic, and religion make us more moral. And here with me today is Dubem. He's a classmate of mine from secondary school. We've known each other for quite some time now. Um so part of the discussion that we'll be having, we'll be talking about um the positive sides of religion, also going to the negative aspect of religion, and then we'll answer the question: can we be moral without religion? Then we conclude. Um, so talking about the positive side of religion, I may have to start with Babe because I know he's spiritual guy here. So Babe, I can ask you, Um, like I know that you are a very devout Catholic. Take your masses seriously. So how like why? I mean, what's your motivation? What's the inspiration? Why do you think it's so important to like be as consistent as you have been for quite some time now, as regards religion?
Okay. So, thank you for having me today. Dubem. Um, I think I will have to start by saying that religion, as we all know, is can simply be defined as people's belief system, your norms, your code of conduct, your ethics, everything about how you believe in something or not. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, of course, you're audible. Yeah, can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, so it has to do with all of this. And for a human being, you grow from being a fetus to being okay, from an egg to a fetus to an infant to a toddler, those stages of life.
Yeah,
So, and in those stages of life, you need a guide.
yeah,
You are not an island. You are not stable from those stages. So you need something that you can believe in,
yeah,
that guides you, that becomes a principle for you, that becomes a way of life for you. So that
yeah,
is what religion is practically all about. And it is a choice that you make. You are not being forced to it. Some people in some contexts can be forced into it.
yeah.
So, um, defining religion, like you said in your introduction, in Nigeria, for me, I would say that a lot of things affect the essence of being spiritual or not being spiritual. So, but let me just focus on your question about being consistent. Being consistent, like I would say, is still your choice. Your choice to maintain that norms that religion brings. Your choice to maintain that principle that religion brings to you. Your choice to maintain that peace that religion brings to you. So it is practically a choice. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. I know it's a choice, but what I was trying to get at is like because now we want to go into the positive aspect of religion. So obviously, for you to have been consistent all this while, going to church, like
Mm.
communing with God and all that. So why have you maintained um that consistency? Why do you believe so much in like in the Catholic dogma, in going to church, in respecting your priest, like following um the doctrine and all that? Like why do you think that, what's your inspiration for doing all that? So what's the positive, I'm just asking the positive side that you see this religion as to why you are doing it?
Okay. The positive essence of it is, I think everything boils down to the personal decisions that you make in your life, So for me, and then I wanted to correct something here. Being religious, going to church doesn't make you being religious, you or being spiritual. You can be going to church and you are not spiritual. So going to church, being consistent, doing all sorts of that is practically for you to, for me, okay, in a personal view now, is for me to maintain my relationship with God. So, and I believe that there is nothing more important than maintaining that relationship. So it is the highest positive effect that I can tell you, because maintaining this relationship affects so many things in my life. So you can imagine if I don't maintain this relationship, and then the ethics that I've been built with are all.
So, so you somehow you believe that part of your morality and ethics head in and your belief in God. Okay, I get that. Um, so I will also talk about the positive side of religion, so that um, because as Dubem knows that I question a lot, and it might appear um like yeah, I would say I'm always critical of. I've always been critical of religion. So, but in terms of the positive aspect, we there are so many positive aspects of, and when you use a good way, like you can say that um, like some sort of like people use religion as some sort of charity, like to help the neighborhood. Even some religious society, they might need them like maybe if there's a crisis, let's say there is war, like I think during, let's say, Nigerian Biafra war, I think Red Cross was very much involved in that. And so even there are still so many missionaries that were still involved, trying to help humanity. Even now, there are still so many
Yeah.
religious groups that, they believe that they are doing good, relating it to God, and then in the process that they're doing that good, they're helping humanity. So there are some positive aspects of religion. There's also the sense of belonging to a community. All that. But then, also moving on that, because there was a statement you made. There was a time you said, not being forced. That you going to church, believing what you believe, that is a choice. Understand? So, but somehow I question that, because somehow I don't believe. Somehow I don't think it's a choice, a way. I mean, I know that nobody is most our most real life situation. There's nobody maybe putting a gun to your head telling you church, and maybe people that are doing that. But in if we are being honest, babe, we're born a Catholic, right? Both parents are Catholic, so of course, so like you believe that you're on the right track. You are happy that you found God. But then don't you think that you didn't find God on your way, that you had some help? Like if your parents were not Catholic, maybe that was a mistake now, and you were born in a do you have been bowing your head today. You're praying 5 times a day. So like, because so you're laughing. So I don't know, like, so do you still think it's choice? You understand? Do you still think it's choice? Yeah. Yeah. See, the reason personally, what I believe is that as human beings, like, there is, with everything going on in the world, there is a need. There is this need we have in us to believe that there is something higher than us. So that there is something, like there is a supernatural being or a supernatural force that is responsible for some aspect of our lives. So it's as if to say that if we don't have that belief, then like there will be chaos. Like people feel like then there is no need for life. Like why, what are we doing on earth if there is, if at the end there is no purpose, there was no design. So people actually want to believe that
Yeah.
there is a grand plan involved. So I think that's why, that's the vacuum that religion is filling in our lives.
Because the most essential thing about it is that it brings in this, how it affects the internal and external disposition of these human persons. It is not just about being a Christian or being a Muslim. That is why these religions have their individual scripts, individual scriptures, or individual writings that
Yeah.
guide them. Because the main purpose of this religion is transformation of these human persons. It is not just because they're born. I have friends, I have Muslim friends that I can confidently like do everything naturally with them. It is not, you are not looking at the religion, you're looking at this human person that has been transformed. Now, the religion is just like the channel that this person has been transformed from. So maybe like you now, you must have still had something that has transformed you into believing that people are trying to believe in a supreme being, and so in everything, in every action, there's always a reaction. So that is how religion helps us in so many ways. So because religion in the right sense, even though it is being practiced by human beings with different beliefs, like I said before, or not being forced. Because assuming I was born in a northern area, practically in Nigeria, and I happen to be a Muslim and I happen to be born into a Muslim family, at the end of the day, you see that those principles, those personal principles, will still be channeled into that right disposition. As a human person.
So, yeah, I mean, I get that. So because we are still going to get into moral, into like morality, ethics, but touch a bit on that because you are the person that said the reason why I asked you. There's a reason why I asked you that question, and the reason why I asked you that question is because you said that your part of your ethics and your morality are the reason why have been consistent. Your inspiration towards religion is because your ethics and your morality has been rooted that. So it's as if to say that being a Christian has been an inspiration for how I've been treating people. It has been an inspiration for how you have been living your life, right? So, which means that if you were a
Yeah.
Muslim today, you are going to follow what Muslims follow. So, it means that your own life, the way you live your life, the way you interact with people, is going to be different from how you do today. Now, the whole purpose of religion is maybe as a Christian or as a Catholic that you are, you believe that maybe someday you will get to heaven. You understand? And commune with God forever and ever. So, but if there was a mistake that you were now born a Muslim and you are now choosing a different path, your morality is now different. The inspiration for your ethics is now different. How do you think that you will still have been able to like make it up there and be with God finally? Do you think that they will still have the same, like there's this thing they talk about having um like there's different opportunities. If you give people the same opportunity, you're expecting them to have the same outcome. So, but even in real life, when people are even given the same opportunity, they don't even come out with the same outcome. Now, let alone when two different people have different opportunities and we are still claiming that there's still going to be the same outcome. Do you get where I'm getting into? Hmm? Do you mind? Okay. Did you hear what I said? Okay. Wait, what was the last thing you heard me say? Yeah, so because I was trying to get at that since your morality and ethics is rooted in being a Christian, and the whole goal of being a Christian is to maybe someday be with God. So if maybe you were born a Muslim, if there was by any chance that you were born a Muslim, do you think that it will have the same outcome? Because the way you treat people today would have been different. The way you see things they would have been different. Do you think it will still have the same?
Hmm. Okay. To answer your question right now is first we need to understand that the goal about religion is far more than just the end goal of
Yeah.
maybe being in heaven or maybe being with Abraham for the Muslims. Hmm? It is far, far, far above that. Like I said earlier, I said it boils down with your relationship with God first. The Muslims also call God as well. If you see someone that a good Muslim that has a
Yeah.
good relationship with Allah, the character that he or she exhibits is still going to be in the right disposition of what that religion is meant to do. Now, for me, being a Muslim or being a Christian, it doesn't affect the way I behave. It doesn't affect the way I'm going to be disciplined or the way I'm going to be. It depends on how rooted and how that relationship is. Because one thing I've come to understand is that religion is like a brimming light. The more you
Mm.
are far from it, is the more you assume that this thing might be a torchlight, this thing might be a fluorescent bulb, this thing might be a solar light. You'll be assuming a lot of things because you don't have the right knowledge in that. So that is why you practically answer me now that the way a Muslim in Nigeria behaves is not the way a Muslim in Saudi Arabia behaves. Do you know?
Yeah, of course.
Because now the environment must have influenced so many things in them. You understand? Same thing with a Christian. The way a Christian here behaves and the way a Christian in maybe UK or USA behaves might be different. But then one thing is going to be constant. And that one thing that is constant, be it that the Muslim is in Nigeria or in the West, is that if any Muslim or Christian or in any religion has a good relationship with the beliefs, commandments, and rules of his particular religion, and this other person in any other place has, the both of them will be similar in their character wise, in their discipline wise, and in every other thing, depending on how knowledgeable that maybe the knowledge that they have might now influence some other aspects, but it will be likely in all of them. So religion has to it is far more, it is far more above the end goal. It starts with that relationship. It enters into your core character, it enters into your discipline and all. So I want to clear this essence of
Okay, so so just help me understand. So the reason the reason why we give reverence to God, you said is not because primary reason is not because we want to go to heaven. I'm saying is it because of morality to be good? Yeah, but yeah, so why do we worship God? Why do we believe in God? Why? I'm saying I'm just trying to understand the essence of religion. You understand? Like personally to you, the essence of religion, is it morality? Is it because of morality? Because what is the basic of that belief? Like there must be a reason for that belief. Why we why maybe you are go to church, or why maybe you are religious, or why a Muslim follows his own way. Why do you think, like what do you think they are trying to achieve? What do you think that going on? I just want to understand why. Are you there? Huh? You said what? Yeah, as a human being, why we feel like we have to do this, or why maybe some people are doing, or even you were just, let's not generalize. Let's not talk about people we don't know, but like maybe personally to you, why? Because there must be a reason. There is definitely going to be a reason for everything. No, the, because when I said maybe that the goal is to make heaven, or maybe be your creator, you said that that's not just the primary goal, that it's not about give and take. So now I'm trying to know why, like, why do you have to maintain that relationship with God? Because if it's about your morality, is it just about your morality, about your discipline?
yeah.
Is that why? So why? Okay.
No. I'm going to ask you now why you began to go to kindergarten before you entered
Yeah,
primary
so that I
school.
will have
Can
a
you answer that
foundation
question?
to get into primary school. It's all part of the system, the school
Mm-hmm.
system.
Mm-hmm. The school system,
Yeah.
right? Now, having this belief, this essence of life is not even about, you are not even like, for us to trust and have relationship to God is not even about God. It is about ourselves. We are not even doing God any good in believing in Him.
So
We are
what
doing
good?
ourselves
So
good
what
by
good are
believing
we
in Him.
doing? What good are we doing to ourselves by believing in? That's what I want to
Have
get
a good
into.
disposition to for ourselves. We have a good disposition to ourselves
That's to become
because
better people.
man, yes, because man is a very unique being. Man is a very unique being. Even in the scriptures, it is like you can imagine how a like among the whole animals, like man is like one fourth of the most siziest and the way they are, and but still they can be able to do so much things. So there is that disposition to better yourself, that have that knowledge of self, that self-awareness. And you need a supreme essence for you to be understanding so much of those things, because you we have three stages of how we begin to think, and those realms are not just what you begin to do on yourself. So you need to believe in something, and then it's like I said now, the essence of going to heaven is also a part of this. But then it is not, if you say that just going to church is for you to go to heaven, it will be like a trade and barter something. So it is not just that, it is about your own self, your self disposition, so that you begin to live a good life and then affect it to the next person. And when you begin to dispose it to the next person, this other person has that same disposition, the world becomes a better place.
Okay. Okay. So there is a reason. There is where I'm going to, and you will see where I'm going to very soon. So because somehow you believe that Christian, as Christian that believes in God, be a better person, more self-aware, more self-aware, and the same thing happens with them. The same thing, Jewish guy, the same thing with. So, but then when we take a very critical look at all this religion, we see that some of them have opposing views. Most of them have opposing views when it comes to life. Understand? And then if you believe that all this religion that has opposing views and of which majority of their own people behave differently as inspired by their religion, you believe that goal is to be better or that they become better based on their religion, then it may not actually be religion that is making them better. Or you may not need religion to become better or to be self-aware. Like that's where and that's part of the thing that we're supposed to discuss today, which is we need religion to be morally good. You understand? Do we need religion to be better? Because if a Christian, a Muslim, a Jewish guy can be better, like somehow, Dubem, let me ask you a question. Like, do you believe that people inherently we know what is good and bad? Depends on what? Like what? What mean that like what?
Mm, depending, when someone has been given a false basic, that person grooms with that. You understand? So that is why you can even see someone that is not going to church, someone that is not is even an atheist, disposing that good characters, good relationship wise, good self-aware. You understand? That is why it doesn't boil down to, listen, the problem is not the religion. The problem is not the religion. The problem is in
Um,
us that are practicing and are in believing in this religion.
of
You
course, you know
understand?
where I'm
And
going
then
to.
the only thing that
Of course, you
stands
should.
out, I know where you are going to. I know where you are going to. The only thing that stands out in all of these things is the only thing that stands out in all of these things now is having that self-aware. You are not doing this thing for the next person. Like as a Catholic now,
We're not
I am
talking
not
about
going to
priests
church
here.
because of my priest. That is why even in Christian now, even in the Christian religion, yeah, the
Yeah.
Christian religion now, I'm just trying to give you an example. You understand? Because I want to make you understand that this is like a personal race. Someone else might have their own different script, but then at the end of the day, it doesn't discriminate the good effect that religion brings to you.
Yeah.
Because what it might be bringing to me might not be what it's bringing to you.
My own claim is that it is not religion that is bringing that moral that you're talking about. Understand? As we are
So what it,
born,
yeah.
as we are born, I believe that everybody, matter just once the person that is up to age, you understand, there's a difference with that. Maybe I understand where you're coming from in terms of nurture. Like let's say a Muslim guy that was washed, you understand? But no matter no matter what you want to say, you will apply that only let's say maybe you are a judge, like you are a court judge, you understand? And then some a Muslim guy, they say this Muslim guy committed an act of terrorism. And then you look at the guy's background and you saw that this guy grew up maybe surrounded by teachings that are not morally good. So maybe somehow you believe that he was like brainwashed. So you're like, okay, we need to sentence. But it doesn't mean that that guy doesn't know what is morally good and what is bad. Like somebody wears a vest to go and kill a bunch of people. There is that split second that that person is really aware that this thing I'm going to. Because if I pinch you here, it's going to pain you. You don't need to be told that this is painful for you to stop it. If you can steal somebody's money, you don't need a preacher to tell you that you shouldn't. Because when somebody else steals your money, you won't like it. If you kill somebody's brother because of religion, and then another person comes and kill your brother because of religion, he go still pain you. So everybody knows what is good. I'm just trying to let you because same if point that was trying to learn that if an atheist, a Jew, a Muslim, a Christian, a Buddhist, and become good, then it's not the religion that is making them good. Because that's the basics, that's the crux of our meat. Like, do we need religion to be morally good? You understand? And I'm trying to say that we don't. It's not can't tell me that the reason why like reason why maybe treat people the way you treat them. Somehow you feel it's because you go to church. No. Or because you have a good God. No. Like, I don't think that's just like personally it's religion that has been making maybe for a better place, has been making everybody a better place. That's just where I'm trying to come from. Now,
A root for everything. You cannot. What you are saying now is like trying to tell me that a bamboo tree that you planted the seed for a year and it doesn't grow, and in 2 years it doesn't grow, and then in the third year it begins to grow. It begins to grow. Then the bamboo tree will now come out and say that, oh, no, 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 that he has already known that if it comes out, it will begin to spread out its flowers and begin to spread out its branches and all. There is always the root to everything. At least I know that you believe on that one now, right?
that is a root to everything.
A root.
So
Yes, there is always a root to everything, right or
no,
wrong.
what I believe is that there are some things that are universally, like that are universally right, that some things that are universally
No,
maybe wrong. Like there are
no,
some
no, no,
things.
no.
So
No, so you just grow up and then you know these things.
it's not. I get where you're trying to drive at. It's not religion that is teaching you those things. That's where you're getting it wrong.
No, 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 no. You are running too fast. You are running too fast. I said believe first that there is a root to everything, right or wrong.
Of course, It's already been set.
So that's one apart. That one apart now. So when you begin to say that there is a universal law of knowing what is right and knowing what is wrong. So what influences that knowing of that thing? Is
What
it not from
mostly
the roots?
what mostly influences them is like your local laws, like so like the rules and regulations that you have, like in most country and all. But like somehow because when you become human, the essence of becoming human is that like you are human. You know that like just like when like let's say have a kid now, and then uh if that kid at the age of like 5, at the age of 5, if a kid wants to go to the mother's pot still to take meat, the mother says, nobody should take this meat here, or nobody should move this thing here. When a kid is doing it, a 5-year-old child, when they are doing it, they're going to do it and hide, or they will do it and deny when you're asking them. You understand? This is a 5-year-old that doesn't know who God is. They don't understand who God is. They don't understand what religion. But somehow they already know that what they are doing, like they may not. I'm not saying that they have a full understanding of the word, but somehow they know that something, and they need to lie about it, deny it. So they don't need religion to inspire them. That's where I'm getting at. Hmm. Yeah, of course, I'm Christian. Yeah,
Serious issues. Because sorry, because they were having this essence of who is this person to teach us the law, and we are the people that are the custodian of this and that. You understand? So those laws that they were trying to implement, because at the end of the day, the general thing that will be said is this is the law, this is the religion. But then Jesus Christ came and then he was like trying to amend all of those things that they were doing. That is to show you that the religion is not even the main focal point. It is these people that are practicing it, that are implementing. Mhm. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
because it could be that when that Jewish guy now, they say that something happened to his or her own family. I know that some people that are maybe very core if to of what they cause and how they, some people might still not bow down to pressure, but there are still a good percentage of people are going to break that rule to accommodate their own people. Understand? To offer help to
Mm-hmm.
their own people. So it doesn't mean that the law is there. It doesn't mean don't see that they are blinded. They know. You understand? Because if they were the people,
Yes.
if they are the one in that situation, they would like to be helped. In their own hearts, if they were
Mm-hmm.
the ones in that situation and someone is passing and left them, they're not going to be happy about it. So the same thing, like it happened to me. Let me tell you a personal story, like for my own self. Like I remember in 2005, that's when I received my first Holy Communion. 2005, after I received my first communion, my mom, after from catechism, they taught us that we're not supposed to sell things on Sunday, right? We're not supposed to do
Mm.
businesses on Sunday or that. So yeah, during the after you receive the first, within that week, 2 weeks, you like to understand. My mom will tell me do on Sunday. My mom will say, please, we don't have fish. Go to market and buy fish. I'll tell my mom, I bought this fish Saturday, not today. You understand? And then my mom will send my brother. My brother will go. But somehow, if I'm thinking about it now, deep down, I know. Like somehow I have this regret that I'm not doing what you asked me to. I'm not helping my. Like I know the truth. So somehow
Mm.
I'm just using that religion to back myself or that doctrine or whatever to back myself up. You understand? But inside me, I know that I should buy this one. Because we are that same food. If they buy it from the market, am I not going to eat it? I'll eat it. You understand? I'll eat that same fish that I didn't want to buy. So because what we are arguing here is whether we like religion. Haven't even gone to the native aspect of religion. What we are arguing here is whether we need religion to be good people. Because if we even look at the history of religion, how it started, just that as a Christian, religion now has transformed. Catholic that we see today is not a Catholic of understand.
No.
And a lot of things had to go into to take it what it is today. A lot of things had to go, and we don't even want to go into that. So, so you people say that religion, I get religion maybe comes to belonging to that sort of, but as far in morally, that's my own distance. You need to maybe if you can convince me that there is that we need to morally, that's what we need to be morally good. Person, I don't see it.
Anyway, the only thing I can still chip into this is that, like I've said, and I will always maintain it, is religion is like religion is like harnessing our inward and outward self.
Yeah.
When you see somebody now, for an example, one is when you see someone now tying a scarf from afar, you know that okay, this person is maybe is going to church. You understand? Or if you see someone in hijab, you say that okay, this person is going to mosque. You understand? So those ones are the external
Yeah.
appearances, the external positions. You understand? So now the internal dispositions are they are a choice. They are not like I said before. They are not they are not forced to you. Even from the even from the New Testament, after Jesus was having issues with these people, when they started calling them Christians, like from Antioch, was like, okay, these people are behaving like this man. These people are not following, are not like the Jews, because Jesus was born a Jewish person. You understand? He was born Jewish, but then he had to come and implement these things and tell them this thing you are doing is wrong. And it is that same thing that is happening then that is happening now, because it is still this essence of how do you practice this? Because the religion is not an edified or feasible something that is standing. It is kind of like what humans has brought into rather what these supreme beings have come into existence to guide and protect and to give you these morals and what. It doesn't mean that you are not going to be your own personal and full human being.
Yeah.
You are still going to be a human being. You understand? So that is the thing that is still happening now. Because if you look at even the Christians now, you will see denominations that are still having opposite views. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I didn't hear the last thing you said anyway.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, okay. So that is why you still have even Christians that still have opposing views. So at the end of the day, this thing boils down to a personal disposition. That is what I can say. It boils down to a personal disposition because when you begin to uh, think of how or begin to simplify it in a way that it becomes like the way you are thinking now, that it is like we need religion to be a human. No, 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 no. It is your personal disposition that you have come to realize that you have been groomed with. Because I so much believe in the root of how you have been groomed with has some positive and negative effects on you. You understand? So, and going example of not helping your mom going to buy something, I think it also boils down to the same practice as well. It boils down to the same practice as well because you can imagine if you had asked question maybe even as an infant and asked, okay, why wouldn't maybe even in the catechism classes and say, okay, if our mom tells us to go and buy something, can we go and buy? Because I could also remember from our catechism classes that what we are told explicitly is not to work on a Sunday, not to work. Your chores in doubt are still there. And going to buy something is a part of your chore.
That's
So
that's that's how you
I
see
think
it.
it was.
So this thing that
Mhm.
you said now brings because I think at some point we have to continue, but like there was a question that I had which was like was the reason why we are debating this today. Because I think the major issue
Mm.
that is how religion is being practiced. You understand? That's the
Mm-hmm.
reason. That's the reason why
Yeah.
we are debating this thing today. You understand? So now,
Yeah.
and that brings me to what you were saying about what happened. The personal story I told is that my instructor said that it is true that you are is only you are not expected to go and to be selling on 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 Sunday. But then he also made a point that so if you're not expected to sell on Sunday and then you go and buy something from somebody that is not expected to sell on Sunday, then you are supporting that person. You understand? You are the reason why that person is coming out. So that's where my own instructor in catechism was coming from. So and see how so like when practices people can interpret things whatever way they want to interpret and call it. Now that aside, I think the mistake you are making that you are when you talk about upbringing and group, that thing of course how somebody is brought up affect things like, but you are thinking that I brought up that like let's say the morals, the ethics that someone is transferring to their children is, is based on um it's based on religion or it's inspired by religion. I think that's where I decide. Personally, I believe just based on moral values that has been existing for time. I think I lost you at some point. I don't know whether you heard what I was saying. Huh? Okay, so I was saying before you left, I think what I was saying is that mistake you are making is that feel that I of course know that upbringing and grooming, you understand, affects somebody's life, affects your disposition life. But the mistake you are making is that you are equating that upbringing, thinking that the the reason behind that ethics and that morality that we are transferring to our kids, to the little ones, that reason behind it or that what is sponsoring those morality and ethics, religion. When in essence it's not religion. These things are values, are value-based systems that has been existing, you understand, all time. Because if you were to apply some of the ethics, like all the morals and all the ethics that you get from your religion, you were to apply it and give it to your child, so many bad aspects that you have to remove. So which means that those morality and ethics has been existing before time. They have been universal. So it's not religion. Understand? It's actually been moral system that has been existing before. That's uh that's what I'm saying. Anyway, maybe you can conclude and then that will be the existed most. Although we don't talk about the negative aspect of it, but I think unless you want to talk more. No, it happened, but it happened, but it's not religion. It's not from religion. That's the thing. Yeah, that's what you're arguing now. Of course, of course, of course. I don't know what you mean by a spiritual being anyway, but like I believe humans want to believe in spiritual power. And yeah,
Okay. Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Like I rightly said, um, religion at some point can also be can make people salvation. So just get that right, and these things will be easy for all of us. But so that is what. And then in conclusions, I will just say that at the end of the day, can you hear me? Okay. So in conclusions, I will just say that yeah, I'll just say that these things boils down to it goes down to ourself, the self knowledge that we have about ourselves. Because when we begin to understand ourselves better, we begin to see that everything we have been exposed to, everything we have been taught, everything we have been learned is geared towards making our lives better and making the next person better. So, and when the golden rule says that what you don't want to be done to you, you are doing it to another person. So it becomes a chaotic world. So at the end of the day, anything we are doing, be it you are religious, be it you are not religious, be it you are you're a Christian, being a Muslim, it all boils down to being a good person, understanding, having that conscious, consciousness, that's mind that yes, this is good, and you know that it can be verified that this is good, and you do it right. So that is so everything other every other thing is just principles, just like funnels guiding us to this point. So that is what I can say. Thank you.
Or to get the same outcome. But if it's universal, if we accept that, if we believe that somehow we know that this someone like need to treat your neighbor like want to be simple, but then we are now using religion as a way to foster like more community togetherness rather than using it as an instrument of morality, So that's that's the essence of this for me, just to put that out there. Although I know I could be wrong, but it was nice having them here today. It was a very spirited conversation, and I know that we're going to still talk more about other subjects. Other. So